Let me ask you this, Scoop, because my big question is going to be about media and marketing. But before I hit that in relationships, so tell me what's the driver behind media always covering athletes that way? Is it the white media trying to relate to brothers, how they see us, how they want to be? Is it a nefarious thing? Is it just them not knowing us?
Keep
Why
going.
do you think that's always
Keep
been
going.
that?
Everything you want to say, you keep going and you're going to be right.
Yeah.
All of
Hey,
the above.
before
You want to, just keep going. Whatever
we
other
got
thought
we
you got in there, you can accurately apply. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna-
it.
Javin,
Yeah, that's it. Yep, it's all, yeah. Yeah.
Javin, I'm glad you stepped in because I want you to take the lead on this because this is more of your area of expertise. So Javin is a member of HBCU. I believe Keenan is as well. And so, I believe that's how they met and everything. And they gave me my first HBCU experience, even though I didn't attend one, right? And so they this Deion Sanders topic. What are your thoughts on it? Because you attended the HBCU as well, two of them, right? And so, what do you think in regards to Deion Sanders' decision about him going from a HBCU to another program? And this is something that I believe Brian should chime in on as well because he's going through some things with coaching and stuff like that. So go ahead.
Well, it goes back to what I've been consistent with and said from the very beginning. What was your expectation coming in? The same thing with like dealing with the Lakers and Anthony Davis. Like, what has history shown you about this cat that makes you think there's going to be something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's been averaging like 50 games a year throughout his career. So why all of a sudden when he comes to you, you're expecting something different?
Yeah. Dang.
And I personally know Deion.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I expect Deion Sanders to be the savior for all HBCU? I never came into, So, you asked me how I feel about it. Hey, do you, my man? Do you? You did, you did great by the opportunity that was presented in front of you. And to me, you did over and beyond that. But I was never one to expect you to treat this the way other people thought you should. Like you were never going to be, even if you were, I put it this way. I don't think, and I'll get very technical. I don't think I ever heard Deion Sanders. I don't think I ever heard him come out of his mouth that I'm going to be the savior of HBCUs. I know that I never heard him say those exact words. Now he did say, God called me, or I had a calling from God to come here. Now, if we're really being honest, God calls a lot of us a lot of times. God doesn't make just one call to us in our lives. God calls us, hey, man, you need to take this job. God calls us, hey, this is the woman you need to marry. God calls us, hey, you know what? This is the house you need to buy. God calls us, say, hey, this ain't some shit you should be doing. God makes a lot of calls to us in our lives. So the fact that people are, from what I've seen, honing in on Deion Sanders saying God called him to do this, to go to Jackson State, and acting like God didn't make another call for him to go somewhere else is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. God makes many calls to us in our lives. God appears to us in many different times in our lives. So without him actually saying out of his mouth that I'm going to save HBCUs, it's hard for me to expect that from him as if he broke a promise. Now, that's just that. But regardless of that, I never expected Deion to be the savior for this anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I no disrespect, as a member of two HBCUs, as an alum of two HBCUs, I'm happy the brother came. I'm happy he got an opportunity to do something else. That's really it. But if I can't put myself in position to think that one man, especially Deion Sanders, is going to come in and save the entire history of HBCU or just sports.
So Scoop, I don't think we was that naive to think that he was going to save all HBCUs, but this is my thing. And so it would be like,
people were.
It would be like, yeah, for sure. But it would be like if I don't know, man, if Snoop said, man, I'm doing Doggy Style 2, you expect Dr. Dre to produce some joints on it, right? Without you even hearing. It goes without saying, right? And so all I'm gonna say is he spoke the language to black people. He did all of the moves to say, this is how I'm moving. We all know historically what have happened to HB. I'm not saying it was his responsibility or he owed people that. But all I tell people is that Deion was uniquely qualified to do what's been needing to be done for HBCUs and to galvanize everybody else because of the megaphone he brings in, because of the relationships he has with with sports entities, whether it be Under Armour's relationship with Nike. He had some things in him knowing how to work media and art. He had some things uniquely to him that nobody else will ever have. I can't see stepping into an HBCU position like that. He couldn't have got a coaching job at a white college, before going HBCU anyway. So it lined up to me perfectly. I wasn't super disappointed.
I got you. Here's the thing. Let's be honest. What did Deion do in leaving Jackson State that was out of character of anything he's done in his life?
Oh, nothing.
So why the fuck are we arguing about what he did? Why it's the same? Why do we expect change?
Well, what did he do? What did he do while he was there that was out of character? Several things.
Well, yeah, because he would be the last person that I would expect that would take half his salary.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm like, wow, that's amazing. That showed me, what he was doing while he was investing his time in it that I wasn't expecting. But if we're really honest, it still benefited him.
Yes.
He still got results. That was all a part of him getting results for himself while he was there.
My logic behind it was he didn't want anybody else handling his son. And he knew how to get his kids to the pros, right? And the way he knew how to do it was the way that he got there, right? And so he knows the blueprint to get so he knew he had to get his son around real Division I talent. So this is the reason why he took this job. The money, I think, is minor thing because he got money. He comes from one of the biggest marketing platforms we've seen outside of Michael Jordan from my era, right? So I don't think it was financially based. I think his son has the opportunity to make, well, maybe it is financially based. I think his son has the potential to have a $500 million career, right? And so he knows how to make $500 million this way.
Wait, is his son really that good though, as a quarterback?
I think his son could play the Heisman. I think his son could go be like, you got to look at this. Justin Fields has increased the Bears' value by 42% this year. People need to think about that. So is he adjusting?
Look at Lamar Jackson and what he's done.
Right. And so
so I mean, yeah.
When you can make, so he just put it like this, will he make 2 NFL contracts? So a quarterback NFL contract right now about 100.
You got to make the NFL first, bro.
I don't see.
Right, ain't no guarantee.
They got him winning. They got him projected to win the Heisman next year.
Really?
I don't see where you see that at.
But that don't mean Charlie Ward won the Heisman and didn't get drafted.
But this is a different. That's when African American quarterbacks were frowned upon. Now
I know, but it equalizes because at least Charlie Ward was playing at a seriously.
Charlie Ward could have played in the NFL.
No, I know, but look where he's coming. Look at where he's coming from, and look at where Sanders is coming from. I hear what you're saying. Black quarterbacks are looked at, but where he's coming from?
What? Because he playing? What is that? The Big 12?
Yeah. I'm talking about his son.
Yeah, he gonna go to Colorado now, and he gonna play 2 years in a pro style offense.
I give him 1 year in a pro style offense at a school that's not Florida State.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. It's different. It's different if he had been in Florida State. I mean, if he had been in Colorado all 4 years. The way the pros are gonna look at it is like he got 2 years experience playing at a school that is not in the CFP. I mean, in the CFB. You know what I'm saying?
I got one name for y'all that could hush all of that up. Mitchell Trubisky.
No, you ain't gonna hush it up because Mr. Trubisky ain't this.
Right.
yeah, that's true too.
So you can hush that shit right now because you're right. That's a whole different conversation, dude.
I went down and watched the Jackson State game this year against Southern, and I don't. Due to the competition, it was like he dominated the SWAC, but he didn't dominate like to the eye. I'm there watching the game, and it was like he's better than them in the SWAC. You know what I'm saying? I will say that he's a little bit better than them, but I still didn't see dominating. You know what I'm saying? So now, okay, put it this way. It's a level where you can go to the SWAC or whatever, but Eastern Illinois or Western Illinois is better than the SWAC. He may be on a Western Illinois level or Eastern Illinois level, but don't mean he's ready for the Pac-10. You know what I'm saying?
With only 2 years, and once again, with only 2 years at that level,
right?
It's gonna be hard. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be hard to say.
Is he pro material?
I'm not sure.
His thing is this relevant to the conversation dealing with Deion? Because to me, if your theory is right, Gerald, if your theory is right, I'm not saying everybody's in position to do that, but if you got the position to do that, put your son in a position to have a career, who the fuck's not gonna do that for their kid?
Right. That's my theory.
Absolutely.
Right. So is it and the school benefited and other athletes benefited as well, not just his son.
Right.
So
he kind of gutted out on the way out the door, though, didn't he?
I think he kept promises to a lot of his recruits by pulling them over to Colorado to help them get to the league potentially.
You had another influx of recruits coming in that didn't touch the campus that decommitted at this point. So that's why I say you gut them out and you take the best coaches.
Yep.
Name me one coach who hasn't done that.
Right.
That's not a Deion issue. That's a college football issue.
Right. That's all I'm saying. Name me one coach who hasn't done that.
Are you guys HBCU alumni disappointed?
Not me. Not at all. But I told you I come from a different perspective.
I'm not mad at Deion at all. I'm an HBCU guy, and I felt like Deion was he's really a unicorn because you don't know any college football coaches. Very few of them are for real influencers in media and in barstool sports. And that's hella relevant with millennials and the generation under millennials. Like he's already a celebrity. He's a for real celebrity. So all of that energy, all that momentum is a really big deal. Like Javin was saying with his relationships with Nike and Under Armour and all these different NFL greats, the Hall of Fame, like the greatest ever at his position.
Yeah.
No, you can't duplicate that.
Yeah.
So I think why people are disappointed that he didn't stay because that momentum could have turned into something. Correct. But no, I'm not mad at Deion for leaving. That's his life.
I bought into the movement, man. I packed up. I used my time, my money. I even, like I say, have my Bringing the Business platform. Right. And we did a session from down there, which I have to be honest, was the biggest views and likes and everything that I got even on my platform. So again, kind of piggybacking on what you guys saying about what he brings with him. Yeah. And I just bought into that movement, and I really thought that this HBCU thing was going to really get, I thought he was going to get this thing cracking, man.
Yeah.
Like, I bought into that.
Yeah.
One other point I'll make, it seemed like what Chris Paul did in the bubble, wearing the HBCU gear, the way ESPN started talking about and mentioning HBCUs when they didn't have to, like just a little commentary. Their sons starting to be, when I say their sons, Melo's son, LeBron's son, etc., the potential for them to go to HBCUs, BET having a TV show about kind of HBCU life and so forth, all that momentum. I think that's part of the issue for me, is that Deion was the icing on the cake that I think really could have propelled that if he would have stayed and continued that momentum. But there's a lot that we don't know about his relationship with JSU. and how they do business, and whether he was okay with how they do business. So because of that, I can't be mad at him. I can't be mad at him at one bit.
Let me just say one more thing on this.
Go ahead, Scoop. Go ahead,
Let me
Scoop.
just because I want to clarify something. One, I think I feel different if Deion hadn't done something that ended up the way it was as far as elevating the program. If he had gone there and spent 3 years at J-State and they, you know, their best record was 3-9 or whatever, you know what I'm saying? If he never elevated or did anything, I'd probably have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Now,
one thing he said he did that he didn't do real quick, Scoop. Him and some of his people say we dominated HBCUs. You did not. You dominated the SWAC.
right.
Because when you got to the bowl game, you didn't you couldn't win one of them games yet. So you left that on the table. You did not dominate.
No. And I was saying dominate, but I said elevate. And he said dominate. I said elevate.
Not you.
And he did elevate that program and did turn the program around to make it a success. That's fine. So I want to go back to exactly what I said earlier about we know who Deion is. And Kay, you made a great point. You said he's the best at his position. Deion doesn't look at it that way, and a lot of people in the NFL don't look at it that way. They just look at the best in position, easy. He is on that
He's one of the best football players
ever to do this type of shit, right?
Jerry Rice,
right. He's in that. He's literally in that conversation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and Deion knows he's in that conversation. If you ask Deion, he's like, "Why am I not considered this?" Deion doesn't want to be considered the greatest cornerback, the greatest, special team. No. He wants to be like, I'm Jerry Rice. I'm Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? I'm Jim Brown. I'm in that kind of greatest ever. So, and that's been his whole approach to life. Am I right?
Yeah.
So, what makes us think, as I said earlier, what makes us think he's going to approach this any differently? I'm sure Deion Sanders is very aware of what he can do from a coaching standpoint in football that not too many are able to do. Mm-hmm. And his thing is like, you know what? I'm going to do in football the same thing on the sidelines that I did in between those lines. So when it's all said and done, I want to be looked at, considered
one of the best.
One of the best ever. Not at the HBC, one of the best ever.
Right.
So when that opportunity presented itself, once again, let's keep in mind, Deion is Deion. When that opportunity came, right then, and maybe even if he did use Jackson State as a jump off point, I don't know. That's up to whatever. But my thing is, if he did, he at least did something with it. He left it better than what he came.
For sure.
But for somebody who wants to be considered one of the greatest ever to do it, and especially knowing how white society shits on Eddie Robinson, and doesn't even include him in the conversation.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, to be that, I can't stay here. So here's the situation, because trust me, he's going to do the same thing to Colorado that he did to Jackson State. If he turns that program around in one of those big schools like LSU or Tennessee or Georgia, or Nick Saban leads that, let something happen from there, his ass is gone because he wants to be in the conversation as the greatest to ever do this. Yeah. And he knows how hard it's going to be for a black man in college football because we saw what they did to Eddie Robinson when he stayed at these HBC, when he stayed at Southern. Mm-hmm. He's totally dismissed. He's not even talked about in the conversation. Deion's like, no, I'm going to change that because I'm not saying he gives a fuck about Eddie Robinson, but what I'm saying is that Deion Sanders cares about being considered the greatest ever. Yeah. In order to do that, he knows where he has to go. So, I want to keep in mind, Deion is doing what Deion has always done, and that's a good and a bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of selfishness. There's a lot of ego. Yeah. There's a lot of narcissism that goes into Deion being Deion. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But there's also that push to be the greatest ever to touch things that is in him too. And he's displayed that throughout any time that we've known him. He did it in college. He did it in the pros. He's going to do it in coaching.
Yeah. No, this is the perfect way to end it. But what I say, man, it's going to take us back to how we started, is that what these guys fail to realize, the first two people we talked about, bro, was Pele and Muhammad Ali. And that's where Dion is short-sighted. These guys will never be as great as Muhammad Ali because of the sacrifice that he made. So while they chasing the status as an athlete, they will never be icons and have the love for the people because it's not in them. And so that's what Dion was really speaking to, the hope in us for that. And it just makes
but
me
he's
say,
never been there. Yeah,
well,
he's never been there. And
hey,
it wasn't going to start here.
real talk. But I mean, and so then that's the point, is to say, hey man, there's no real redemption for us. We need to stop talking about this. Brothers need to mature at some point, and at some point somebody's gonna have to make a sacrifice, because at the end of the day, why I think this whole conversation was dope is because it's what you stand for, Scoop. It's always about, we talk about these sports from the lens of culture, and we gonna continue to have these conversations until we can take control of our own culture and stop giving it away. And HBCUs are a manifestation of that. That's where it needs to start from ground one. And we'll continue to have these conversations in society until somebody is willing to make a sacrifice and say, you know what, I'm going to have to forego being called the greatest whatever, because I'm going to step back, and then you will truly be the greatest like Ali. But that's it, brothers. Thank y'all.
I hear you, bro. I agree with you, but you still got to be the right person to do it. And it's not,
that's real.
If it's not in them, we shouldn't wish for that person to do it, because I'd rather have nobody be in that position to do it than have the wrong person up there trying to be something and not doing it. And that's not in Dion. That ain't in Dion. That Ali, Clemente, Pele, that type of spirit, it's not in Dion. It's not in Michael Jordan. It wasn't in Kobe.
Money.
Hey, let me leave y'all with something I want y'all to look at about Ali, Scoop, and you should really research this. The truth about Ali is that's not really who Ali was either. If you go back and look, Ali was founded by them white businessmen in Kentucky. And I'm not saying he didn't grow to end up being true with some of that, but if you go and really, really do your deep research about who Ali was in a sense a figurehead. I think he began to understand some of that stuff. But go back and look at some of Ali's stances, you know, prior to some other things that happened. And I'm saying, you know, we all human. You know what I'm saying? But so that's why I'm never going to discount no brother, like who he was, who he used to be, where he's going. I can never say, and you don't have to be Jesus Christ, and you don't have to even stand on the cross. And I'm not saying Dion go broke and you know, become a Buddhist monk to give up all your riches. But it's a way to still do these things. But we out of time, fella. Scoop, we're going to give you the last word, my brother. Thank you for rocking with us today. Anything you think we should know about from social media standpoint, anything else you got coming up, drop it on us, man.
Nah, man, I'm good. I told you, you know, the book on Gervin, the autobiography of George Gervin, I had a hand in that. So that's coming out sometime next year. Yeah. Still doing my thing at ESPN. That's it, man. I'm social media ghost, man. That's a landmine for too much drama, man. Wow. As my man Puffy said, real bad boys move in silent. I try to keep it quiet. Quiet as fuck.
Well, you're real guys. We're going to stay in tune with you, man, and continue to follow us. And if you ever need us, brother, you know we here, man. We got a nice megaphone in UFU, man. You know, a couple thousand members. So always drop your stuff and hit one of us to, you know what I'm saying, make sure we posting what you got going, brother. We appreciate your time.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
Until next time.
All right, everybody. Peace. Thank y'all.
All right, man. Be good. Happy Kwanzaa, y'all. Appreciate you.
All right, cool.